Now, this is how the by-election at Ayawaso West Wuogon ended on Thursday. The violence that characterized and the presence of masked armed men at the constituency cannot be overlooked. Just watch this. Well, political parties, the police and civil society organizations have condemned the incidents. Former President John Dramani Mahama, however, says the National Democratic Congress is ready to meet the governing party boot for boot in the 2020 elections. In his own words, quotes, NDC has a revolutionary roots. Take a listen.
MPP is taking this power as a matter of life and death. They said it already. They said all die, be die. And they are acting out and living the reality of the all die, be die. I'm sure that this evening when you turn on your televisions, you will see what happened at Awaso West. And so we are not going to joke in 2020. And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country, and NDC is a democratic party, and that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you. And so we'll get a full briefing of what happened, but I just want to sound a caution that NDC has revolutionary roots, and that when it comes to unleashing violence, nobody can beat us in unleashing violence. It is just that we midwife this country's democracy. And so we must be the first to respect the country's democracy. And that is why we are acting as a party that is very docile and respecting the rule of law. But if we believe that the government cannot protect our people, and we believe that the government is using its vigilante groups and illegal forces to intimidate and harass and injure our people, then we will have to advise ourselves.
Now, Adam Bona is a security and safety expert with more than 20 years of experience in counter-terrorism, defense and intelligence and international relations. He joins us via phone for a conversation, and I have to give you his credentials to set the tone for this discussion. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for your time. I've got to ask you, are we safe in Ghana today?
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Mamavi, I want to believe that yes, we are safe, except from the fact that we have, isolated incidents of security challenges in one area or the other. And so I must say we are safe. Largely, we are able to go out of our homes, drive to work, or wherever whatever activity we are engaged in, we are able to do that without fearing that somebody is going to be, with force taking our, robbing us or doing something that is not required to us. And so for me, I would say we are not in a state of insecurity. We are safe, yes, from where I sit.
So having slept over yesterday's incident, how do you analyze it the day after?
Well, the day after, I would say it is sad. It shouldn't have happened. And if you check, this guys who I call hoodlums, who mounted, the police vehicle and were used to probably foment the troubleshoot into the crowd and, get people hurt yesterday was uncalled for. And my own checks indicate that that vehicle is actually parked right, within the national security vicinity. And so even though it is a police vehicle, it is in possession. The national security is in possession of that vehicle. And so, and I'm aware, the police have actually also come out after some of us said the officers weren't police officers. The police have come out to say they are not police officers. And my checks also indicate that these hoodlums who were used are not carriers, national security officers. And so then the question is, who are they?
Can you answer that? Who are they then?
Pardon me, I didn't quite get what you said.
I put the question to you. Who are they?
Who are they? I believe these are people who I suspect are, party people who probably someone used to foment trouble. I mean, who are they? I believe Kofi Boakye did talk about, Kofi Boakye did talk about vigilantism, in the upcoming general elections. If it's not,
But if indeed, sorry, sir, if indeed they are not security officials, career security officials, but they are vigilante guys, then this has graduated onto a whole different level, because now they are in uniform and they are able to use a vehicle belonging to the police. These are well-armed guys. How do we explain this?
How do we explain? I'm expecting the state, the mandated institutions to investigate this and tell us who these guys were, because their faces were covered. Those who took the pictures or videos, when we weren't able to identify who they were, apart from people who, were holding, assault rifles and sidearms, and, ballistic helmets, and, call it ballistic or bulletproof vest, dressed for war. So who are they? I'm expecting, if you ask me, that the state mandated institutions, I think the IGP did issue a statement that they are going to conduct investigations into who these people are and tell us who they are, and I'm hoping that they are able to do that quickly so we know who they are, because if we never get to know who these people are, then some of us will find that very worrying, because we need to know them, and if they are found, if they have to be punished, they are punished according to the law.
Can we trust the police to do a thorough investigation to find out, considering all the things that we've heard coming even from within the force when it comes to vigilantism?
It's difficult from where I sit to say we would not trust the police to investigate this. Then, if that wouldn't be the case, it would be difficult to mean a committee, maybe, an ad hoc inquisitorial or investigative committee is put together to investigate this particular issue. But apart from that, I think that the police will still be the same institution to investigate this issue. Some of us have complained that we should have the independent police complaint commission. If that was there, since these guys were in, a police vehicle, branded vehicle, then that commission would have investigated this issue, because then they use police vehicle, and therefore a report would have been made to that commission, investigated. So that would be an independent commission to investigate atrocities meted out by people who are suspected to be police officers. Even if they are not, the commission would have been able to do that. But until then, either an ad hoc investigative team would be put together by probably the powers that be the executive, or the police themselves, as they said, they are going to investigate. We allow them to do the investigations and let us know who these people are, and it should be done as quickly as possible. Mama Dia, I'm sure you are aware that this morning the police were supposed to, in a press conference, tell us the issues regarding kidnappings and the like. But I'm told that it's been suspended due to, this incident that happened yesterday. And so these are some of the things. that, if you ask me, I would say are worrying in terms of security of, the nation.
Indeed, it's disappointing, knowing that the police couldn't even take advantage of their own scheduled press conference to, give us a briefing as to what happened yesterday. But I want us to move to the specific issue of the response given by former President John Dramani Mahama. I want you to take a listen. I'll come back for a reaction.
MPP is taking this power as a matter of life and death. They said it already. They said all die, be die. And they are acting out and living the reality of the all die, be die. I'm sure that this evening when you turn on your televisions, you will see what happened at Ayawaso West. And so we are not going to joke in 2020. And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you. And so we'll get a full briefing of what happened, but I just want to sound a caution that NDC has revolutionary roots, and that when it comes to unleashing violence, nobody can beat us in unleashing violence.
Should we be worried by these words?
So we should be, every level-headed person should be worried by these words, as uttered by the former president. I'm sure he spoke that way because obviously he's not happy with what happened yesterday to, supporters of, people believed to be supporters of the NDC. He wasn't happy. I'm sure he's not happy, and there's a reason why he made the statement. But I have to be quick to say that we would urge all of them, let's not glorify what you call it, violence. The glorification of violence is something that we need to let our leaders know that we want to live in a peaceful country. So I would urge the former president, the current, the current president, all the former heads of state or former presidents, the clergy, the peace council, or everyone. We need to be circumspect. Let's bring these people to a round table. Let them know that we don't expect any violence in 2020. Even though that this has happened, we still have more time to find out what went wrong. There's no point winning an election at the backdrop of violence. Let's not turn this country into some form of Somalia or Libya. We are far away from that. And so for me, yes, I know the former president would have spoken because he's not happy, and he was addressing party supporters. And this usually is a time when sometimes they need to reassure the party supporters that they are watching what is going on. And so probably would try to sound some caution a note of caution to the ruling government. But for me, where I sit objectively, I would say that they should all be circumspect and speak to the party supporters, let them know that an election can always be won in a peaceful environment and not violent environment. And so for me, this is what I can say. There's a dangerous path we are on. And if we joke and we say, oh, let's talk about it a day or two and leave it there, especially when the NDC decided to call their party supporters not to go and vote, they withdrew them in a way. It tells you that we don't know what the next step for NDC is going to be. And these are the two biggest political parties in Ghana. At every given point, one of them would be in power. If it's not the NPP, it's going to be the NDC. If it's not the NDC, it's going to be the MPP. And so until such a time that we have a third force, we would always urge them and let them know that they are brothers and they are sisters, they are cousins, and therefore there is no point shedding blood because someone wants to be president or someone wants to be a leader. I think it is wrong. So this is what I can say, Mama.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughts and analysis. But I'd like you to hold on for a second. I want us to cross over and speak to election observers Kodeo. They've issued a statement. Rhoda Osei Afo is with Kodeo. She joins us via phone as well. I'll come back to you, Mr. Adam Bona. But Rhoda, good morning to you. Kodeo issued a statement. And you're also concerned, you actually made some of security observations as well. Share with us, in effect, what the statement seeks to say.
Thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. So from the Kodeo statement, which we've made available since last night, we have a number of concerns, some of which you already spoke to the other speaker on the line. Essentially bordering on security, because we know that for elections to be free and fair and credible, citizens must be able to exercise their mandate in an environment that is free of intimidation, free of any threat to their lives. And so for us to see what we saw yesterday, where, first of all, we saw a very heavy security presence at most polling stations, was unfortunate. We know that typically for our elections, we expect to see one or two uniformed security persons dedicated to a polling station. But yesterday, we saw far more than that. Now, the question we are asking ourselves is, what warranted that? If you look at the profile of the constituency that this by-election took place, it's a very typical middle-class constituency. You don't have so much issues with violence, any history of violence. And so the question is, what informed the deployment of security personnel? What was the nature of communications between the Electoral Commission of Ghana and our security agencies? We know that usually we activate the Election Security Task Force to take charge of election security, but this doesn't appear to have been the case. And so the question we are asking is, what was the information that necessitated this kind of deployment? Apart from that, too, we realize that there seems to be some kind of a lack of coordination. You know, at some of the polling stations, the uniformed security personnel, especially the police officers, couldn't identify with the other security operatives who were there. Indeed, at one of the polling stations that were close to our offices here, a policeman tried to find out from some of these operatives who were sitting at a place that they were not supposed to sit, sitting next to election officials. And eventually, this police officer was virtually physically attacked by even a lot more of these security operatives. The issue is, what was the training that these people had, the professional background of these security persons that we saw yesterday? What was their understanding of their role as far as this election process was concerned? Did they know the processes? Some of them were even turning away party agents when they were not supposed to do that. The presiding officers we know are in charge of our electoral processes, the conduct of the polls at the polling station. If as a security person you had any concerns, you could always confer with the presiding officer. But it was out of way for the security operatives, some of them who were not even in any uniform, going out of their way, turning down certain people that they felt shouldn't be at polling stations. And that was not right. And again, the high point for us was instances where you saw people in masks. Again, the question is, why do we have to see these kind of people at polling stations in broad daylight? What are they doing over there? Now, if you look at the incident that happened at Labaleshi, assuming that people did all manner of things, how are you going to identify these operatives? How are you going to hold them accountable for their actions? So essentially, are we providing cover for people to do what they want to do? This is very unfortunate. We condemn it. We are asking that our security agencies should really do a comprehensive review of what took place yesterday, and they should come back to us. We just had a by-election, we just had a referendum, concerning the creation of these 6 regions. There were incidents that Kodeo reported about. There were assurances by the Electoral Commission, for instance, to conduct investigations. We also called on the security agencies to conduct investigations. As at now, nobody has communicated anything to any of us. So the assurance that the IGP sort of gave yesterday that they were going to investigate these matters, we are not so certain about it. Is anybody going to come back to us in the next few weeks, next few days, and tell us what really happened? Sometimes when things happen like this, we just come out to say we are going to do investigations, and then that will be the end of it. But we should really tread cautiously, because the way we are going, if we don't manage these things carefully, someday we might have to blame ourselves for this kind of situation. We don't want to get there. Always elections are becoming tipping moments for us. This was just one by-election, one constituency out of the whole lot.
But Rhoda,
beyond this kind of force, why must we see this kind of security deployment? It's very, very unfortunate.
Rhoda, beyond the statement that you have issued and the issues that you have raised, which is very, very detailed, by the way, and considering the fact that with your previous experiences, the security agencies or the Electoral Commission has not come back to you with their findings, with the investigations, what would you do? Are you going to do anything beyond the statement that you've issued?
Yes, indeed. We are just going to rely on all of you, the media, for us to keep reviving these issues. Otherwise, they are just going to be swept under the carpet. We have to keep demanding accountability from these state institutions. We cannot be taken for granted. It is the responsibility of all of us, not just Codeo, but all of us as stakeholders in our national development. For us to hold these institutions accountable, we have to keep reminding them that they need to give us this report, these findings, because in any case, we want to be proactive. We want to avoid any negative experiences that we've just gone through. We don't want to repeat these instances. And so if we don't hear about them, about what really happened, and it's even troubling if the IGP and the police service tell us that they don't know about these people. Our observers saw these people in police-branded vehicles, in SWAT-branded vehicles. Where did they get them from? And indeed, our observers confirmed that they saw these agents, these operatives, those who were in mass, some of them working together with uniformed police personnel. So we need more explanation about what happened yesterday. And like I said, we will need you, our friends in the media, to help us shine the light on these issues till we get a conclusion to the matter.
Finally, Rhoda, with you, and I'll come to you, Mr. Bona, in a bit. Considering all the issues that you've raised, what is your final verdict? Was yesterday's exercise free and fair?
Thank you very much. So again, we try to put the issues in perspective. As we spoke about the voting process itself, and we said as far as the processes itself were concerned, we think the processes were quite credible. We didn't witness any issues about the conduct of election officials, about the voting processes itself. But unfortunately, the security issues have overshadowed the other issues. And perhaps rightfully so, because this is an issue that we need to be concerned about. So whereas we believe that the processes, the voting processes were quite credible, we also cannot forget about the security situation. And so we are trying to take the two together.
Okay, so would you conclude it was free and fair?
But we must not forget to address the key issues that came out yesterday.
So was it free and fair? You said quite credible.
Hello?
Rhoda, you said quite
yes,
credible. So I'm asking, was it free and fair?
The voting processes were very free and fair.
Thank you very much.
Again, let me indicate there was an incident in part of the constituency. Unfortunately, this may have had implications for other voters. The violation incident happened in the morning. For the other parts of the constituency, you could see that voting was going on quite peacefully. That's why we are saying that we want to be very holistic in terms of our assessment of the process.
All right. Rhoda, thank you very much. But Ms. Adambona, you've been listening. I want a quick reaction to the issues that Codeo outlined in that statement, which Rhoda also gives us this morning. And I also want to ask, doesn't this give the opportunity to other people to do same in terms of these guys that now we can't, you call them hoodlums, but we can't brand them whether they are proper security agents?
Well, if you ask me, I would say that the statement from Codeo is right and is timely. I'm happy they issued it, I think yesterday or today. They didn't wait after a week, which is good. It means that the powers that be definitely would be listening. And I'm told there is some sort of a meeting today in Parliament to talk about security. And so I want to believe that some of these issues would come up for our elected, parliamentarians to look at. For the conduct of the elections, as Kodio did raise, one thing I've talked about, largely for the last 10 years has to do with the country's lack of comprehensive national security policy. We don't have one. And once we don't have one, what happens is that in this sector, you are going to have a lot of power play. And so what we saw yesterday in terms of, national security operative trying to take charge of election and election security has to do with power play. They had no locals. National security have no locals when it comes to policing election and election,
So why are they tolerated then?
Well, the point, like I said, power play. But if we have this policy that outlines the way, how these people interconnect and they interwork, it would have spelled out who is in charge and who is not in charge. But as we speak, because of some of these things, the non-existence of some of these policy documents, you have national security that largely we don't even know who is the national security officer. And so anybody will flash an ID card that either laminated or properly printed and tell you I'm a national security operative. And most of them don't have numbers. If a police officer tells me he's a police officer, I'll be requiring you to tell me your service number. If you tell me your service number, you should be able to tell me which year you entered the Ghana Police Service. But the national security, it is not that way. And so I want to believe that whatever Kodio said is in the right direction. And I'm hoping that the EC itself probably should have also known that in this whole conversation, by-elections largely in this country has been largely chaotic. And so probably the EC should have noticed this and then call the attention of the security agencies, let them know that chances are that there will be chaos in some of our polling centers. So we need, maybe we need to be vigilant. But this never came up. Does that mean that the next by-election, this thing is going to happen again? If you ask me, I would say yes. I would say yes because we have several by-elections since 1992, and almost all of them, characterized by one violence or the other. Have we learned in 2019? No, we haven't. And so if you ask me, 2021 or 2019, if we are going to have another by-election, would it be characterized, with violence or by violence? I'll say yes, because we haven't learned anything. So for me, Mamavi, this is a bigger conversation, but my fear is that when we begin to have our leaders or former leaders or leaders actually saying, you see, when it is violence, we can do it more. I think that violence shouldn't be the way to win any elections in Ghana, be it by elections, district assembly, or general elections to elect MPs or president. I think that the media has a role to play.
Finally, sir, you're an international relations expert. How does this make us look on the international stage?
Well, it makes us probably look, worse than the U.S. I thought that after the election of President Trump, Ghana became a bit better with regards to the people we put in charge. And so I'm hoping that we are going to rise up to the occasion. And if we are not going to do anything at all, we would, better the image of this country, because then the international media, I've spoken to one or two of some of these international networks, and the question is, how did this happen? Where are they coming from? And I wasn't able to answer. I hope that the investigative committee that will be put together would come out quickly so that when we are asked, who are they, we can confirm and say, these are, they are from here, they are from here. But as we speak, my checks indicate they are not national security operatives and they are not police officers. So who are they? And so it makes us look back internationally.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thoughts on this. That's Adam Bona. He's a security expert. You're watching News Desk. Still ahead, a Suchari sugar factory, now plastic and paper recycling plant. Details coming up shortly.